Start.
Okay, great. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this interactive program, our training or web workshop, um, where we talk about the business storytelling as a tool for your business. Um, storytelling webinar. Well, more of a workshop, I would call it. Um, Let me start by thanking those of you who are here for your timeliness. I'm very time conscious also. But before we do anything, I'd like generally for us to introduce ourselves. Tell me about who you are, just in 2 sentences, what you do and your expectations. So let me start with maybe Angel. Angel?
Sure. Hi, my name's Angel. I am a direct support professional for people on the autism spectrum currently, and I hope to learn how to make an art business with my partner and a few of our clients.
Okay, great, great. You want to learn how to make business with your partner, right?
Yep.
Okay, great. In what area of business are you interested in?
Mostly selling mixed media art.
Media art. Okay,
Yep.
great. Great. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Donna. Hi, Donna. Okay, seems like Donna is not ready. Let me call on Labade Michelle Mary.
Hi,
Hi,
I'm
can you hear me?
yes, I
Yes,
can.
can
Can
hear you
you?
now. Okay, Donna.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So my business is in the planning stages. I'm looking to cater to women who didn't reconstruct after breast cancer. So the, for some reason they'll have issues with fit and also nerve pain. And I'm basically in the point where I might have to pivot because the more I learn about my buyer persona, the more I'm realizing maybe their needs aren't exactly what I assumed.
Okay. Okay. Women diagnosed with cancer, right?
Yes, but they didn't reconstruct, so they're flat either on one or both sides. And so they have nerve sensitivity issues or issues with fit and clothing, and they'd like something that's feminine but flatters.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful. That's a different aspect, which is very good, very interesting.
Mhm.
Okay, so Labade, Michelle, Mary.
oh, hi. Uh, I'm a rep agent with Primerica. We help families and we offer a lot of products like life insurance, auto insurance, financial advice.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I'm here and I hope that this will help me um, find a way to better talk to people and explain them what we're doing.
Okay, very good. Okay, very good. Some marketing skills, right? Very good. Eddington,
Hi, good evening.
good
Um,
evening. Ed
I am
Eddington.
Eddingston, yes. I'm a luxury fashion designer,
Mm,
doing the long haul run, in becoming an emerging fashion designer with my own brand. Presently, I'm working with another emerging designer who we just recently dressed for people for the Metropolitan Gala. And I coined myself as a creative polymath who is passionate about fashion, history, and all things fabulous.
mm, all things fabulous. Okay, very good. I think for now, these are the only people that we have online, right? Is there any further?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, who has
There will
joined?
be latecomers.
Okay, so we will move on because time is of essence. When they join us, they will catch up later. Okay, so let me also talk about a little bit, very little about myself. Yes, I have my doctorate degree in theater arts and then branched myself out into storytelling. So that's it. And I've been telling stories in everything else that I have done because storytelling permeates every aspect of life. Because storytelling is life, and everybody has a story. So long as you live, you have a story, right? So let me go into the objectives of this training or this webinar. Call it training because I'm used to training. I'm sorry. The objectives of this webinar. First of all, we want to offer you the ability to tell a good story. Listen, there are stories. Everybody has a story to tell. Uh, but does everybody have a good story to tell? No. No. You may have a very good story, but you cannot tell it well. Or you may have a lousy story, but you know how to tell your lousy story well. But we're going to help you. First, have a good story and tell it well. All right? We will help you highlight a smart storytelling strategy and how it can contribute to you to the perceived value of your item, anything, whatever it is that you have to put out there to the public. We want you to be able to generate some massive returns because this is an investment you're into. You're going to go into a lot of investment to set up your business. And in order to succeed in your business, you got to tell that story real good. You're going to be able to communicate your values and your beliefs as you tell your story. What do I mean by your values and your beliefs? You know, people have values. We all believe in something. Maybe integrity. If you are a person of integrity, that's a great value. You are a compassionate person, that is a great value. And it comes out in your business. It has to be part of your business profile. And as you talk about your business, these values come out and the people see them. By the way you tell your story, they will know, can I rely on this person? Can I believe this person? Is he trustworthy? Is he respectful of who I am and all of that? Everything, all that you are comes out when you are telling your story. But you have to be able to get the techniques to bring them all out. We want to make you think your business. We want your business to think, to feel, and to speak in ways that all the numbers and the data and presentation slides simply cannot. I remember when I started my own little business, you know, I was privileged to be invited to give a presentation to a crowd of, not a crowd as such, to some top business people in a hospital. And I thought, oh, it would be good to have this beautiful presentation, the slides, the data, and put everything together. And I was excited about that. But you know, when I went on and gave all the information, it was all information, information, information. At the end of that presentation, everybody was quiet, and all I heard was, "We'll get back to you." And that was the end of it. They did not get back to me. I failed because I was depending so much on numbers, on data, and the slides. They looked so good, but then they didn't feel me. They didn't feel me. So we want to make you genuinely now connect with your customers. You got to connect with them. And you don't connect with them with all those data things. You want them to believe in your business. I'm not saying that data and numbers are not good. They're good. They have a role to play. They do definitely. However, if you want belief, if you want them to believe in your business, you got to connect with them. You got to touch something in them that causes them to believe in you. And we'll talk about that much later. You'll be able to wrap that beautiful vision you have, the vision of the creative you. The creative you will wrap it in a very beautiful bouquet and very clearly communicate your story to your audience, your listeners, your customers, or your advisors, or your whoever is going to help you with your finances. Okay, you'll be able to give them that heartfelt marketing strategy. See, I stress heartfelt because at the end of the day, all we want to do is to touch, connect with others. You can't connect with people if they don't feel what you're saying. They got to, it's not just words and words, it's also feelings. They have to feel it before they can connect with you. So we want you to communicate your brand beautifully. That is the main objective of this program. We want you to tell your story properly. But before I get there, so let me ask you, what is a story? What is a story? And please feel free to unmute yourself and speak out. What is a story? Go ahead. Angel, I see you've unmuted.
I think a story in terms of business would mostly mean taking your customers on a sort of journey to understanding the products that they're about to get from you, as well as the creators of those pieces.
Very good. Very good. Very well put. Yes. Anyone else wants to make an attempt? Very good attempt. Very good. Anyone else? Okay. All right. Yeah, go ahead. Eddington.
I was just going to say a story is like a narrative that you're trying to connect with all parties involved, from your clients to your vendors to your customers and your stakeholders, and weaving all of that, facts, figures, and a story to create a narrative. So it could be used as in your communication and marketing to bring your message, your product, and whatever across to them so they can eventually consume the whole aura that you're selling.
Excellent. Very well put, too. Very good. So a story, as you noted, is a narrative. Basic is a story, narrative. It could be a real story, narrative. It could be fictional. It could also recount a series of once it starts to talk about connected events, one thing leading to the other and the other happening and all that, you're telling a story. It often involves a lot of persons, sometimes not a lot though, it has characters, it has a plot. The main thing is that it has to convey information. Sometimes stories entertain. Sometimes it's just to engage an audience. So it's a narrative, basically, a narrative with series of activities linked together, connected together, different events happening together. And that was good. You all know that very well. Thank you. But there are parts of the story that we all need to know. because it's critical, because we're going to use some of them. Generally, there's a general thing about a story having a beginning, middle, and end. That's the plot will have a beginning, a middle, and an end. But in between the beginning and the middle, there is something called the rising action. The story begins, and then there is a rising action, and then there is a climax, and then there is a falling action before we get to the end, or the denouement, as they would say. Sorry. Now, how do stories start? Yeah, we say there's a beginning, middle, end. However, sometimes stories don't have to start with the beginning. Sometimes it can start with the end. Yes. I was listening to a friend of mine called me actually just yesterday to tell me that she had finally received her doctorate degree. And I was very excited for her. And that was that was the end. But then she proceeded to tell me how all that happened, all the events that occurred that led to that end. And there were lots of events that occurred. Childbirth, pregnancy, pregnancy, education, working, and all of that. A lot of things happened, and most of them were obstacles that she had to overcome. So in every story, key thing, there will be obstacles that you have to overcome in every story. So in your case, your story will be your business story. You may start it from when it started, or you may start it because at the end, if you think you have already now arrived at a decision to do X, Y, Z, you have come to a decision. Finally, I am getting started with my business. You can do that. And then playback, go back, flashback as to how it all started. And please, every story does not always, it's not always ending well. Not all stories end well. You may have a story that attains a hitch somewhere and starts again, because there will always be the negatives that happen to us in course of our pursuits. So we do not always have to feel like we have to succeed in everything. You may fail. Bring it out in your story, because it encourages others who are listening to know that, oh, if he failed or if she failed and still can rise up and continue, your listeners will be encouraged to also then keep on, because you have done your very best to continue the race. So let your story be very true to earth. Okay? I don't know if you got that, right? Was that clear?
Yes, yes.
Yes, that was great. That was clear.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay. So some parts of your story, in order for you to tell your story, by the way, there must be a time factor. When did this begin? When did this happen? In every story, there's got to be a time factor. Oh, it was late in the evening one day. I went to the beach. Okay. That's a time factor. You don't have to give me 6:05 or any, but it was late in the evening, or it was early hours of the morning on a certain date. A place. It has to have a place. Where did this all originate? Where did it happen? And then, because I said by the beach, Ah, that's a place. It happened at the beach, or when I was flying, or in Minnesota, somewhere. It must be a place, or in the forest. Where did this all happen? Or you were in the classroom and your teacher was teaching you something, and something suddenly hit you. And that was a great idea you picked up. That's the place. The other thing, the other elements that you will find in any plot is action. It is full of action. Without action, there is no story. There's got to be action, things happening, because those things that are happening are driving the story forward. Those things that are happening in your business, all the action you are seeing in your business, all the marketing, all the search for funds, all that you're doing, writing your proposals, all those are actions you are taking towards getting to the end of your story. And those actions will definitely meet counteractions. All right? They will be opposed. There will be some friction. In every plot, there is friction. And as you yourself are trying to write your business proposal, there would be what we will talk about later as the, what do we call it again? We call them anti-stories. The anti-stories will come. You're trying to tell a story, but there is an anti-story trying to oppose what you are doing. Or you've researched, you suddenly have gotten this place and you want to be able to you want a down payment for this, but suddenly something happens and you can't get that down payment. That's an anti-story. That's something that is definitely going to cause friction. Okay? And you're going to keep fighting and fighting. Now, conflicting ideas, conflicting worldviews, these are actionable things. These are things that will cause there to be friction and conflict of and stress that you have to overcome. So, but in the other natural stories that we tell generally, or in performances, there will be a protagonist and an antagonist. In other words, since we're not dealing with a play situation, we are dealing with your business situation. Guess who is the protagonist? It's not you, it's the business. Your business becomes the protagonist, like the catering business or the agent, all right? The Prime America, the business becomes your protagonist. The protagonist is the person who has a story to tell. But that protagonist, your business story, is going to meet an antagonist. In other words, he's going to have someone who is going to challenge you. For instance, let me say, okay, I want to start a restaurant and it's near McDonald's. Already there is a conflict there. There's McDonald's. There is my little business that I want to start with my little thing. And then who knows, maybe there's another, you know how they go in clutters, all the catering places or fast food places. They all clutter around the same area. And then suddenly I want to bring my own little business that has not seen the light of day yet into the same vicinity. Those are all antagonists for me. They are challengers for my business. So while you are writing on your business proposal and while you're setting things forth, think of all the other businesses that are related to your business, doing the same kind of business like you're doing, challenging your skills, challenging your prices, challenging your costs, challenging everything, your standards. There will be challenges, but you think of them because you got to overcome them. You want your story to end well. So, when you're telling a story, you are promising to share something that people around, those listening, do not know. They don't know what you know. That's why you're going into that. And you want to share what you know, that new thing that you have with them. So you must tell your story with all of these elements in a way that creates anticipation, makes them want to hear you. What does he have to say about this thing? I thought I knew it all, but he's saying something that I don't know. Let me listen. Okay, I hope this is clarifying, clear so far. So far, I hope this is clear. But remember that even though we are talking about just storytelling, it's got to be related to your business. All these stories, beginning, the middle, the end, the rising action, the ending action, the time, the place, the activities now that you carry out, those activities, the sales promotion, the marketing promotion, you will meet challenges. You will meet challenges. Your business is the protagonist. It has a good story to tell. But the antagonist, those challenges that are there, are waiting. But you have to tell your story. Okay? So that is about the plot. So let's go to the hierarchy of stories. There are different kinds of stories. And there are stages of telling stories. Hierarchy, I would rather call it. So I want to tell a story. The first type of story, I would say, is a story that describes what happened. That's just a story that nothing much. Let me give an example. What happened? One evening, I went to the beach. That's what happened, right? That's it. One evening, I went to the beach. Nothing else exciting. That is a story. But a good story will help you see what happened. So let's see how I can tell that story. So one evening, I went to the beach. And when I got to the beach, I saw a beautiful shining object in the sands. Okay. Do you see what happened there? Do you see the difference between the two stories? The other just told you they went to the beach. This one, now you could virtually see a shining object in the sands, right? That's a good story, but it doesn't end there. A great story now helps you not just see what happened, but feel what happened. So I went to the beach. One evening, I went to the beach. I saw a shining object in the sand. Ooh, I had chills all over me because I was so excited. to find out what this was. Does that make you feel what happened? Do you see the difference between just a story, a good story, and a great story? Can you see the difference, everybody? Can we feel the difference?
Yes.
And because I like participation, I need someone to give me a short, simple thing. Start with a single story, short one. Make it a good story and make it a great story. What makes a great story is the one that makes you feel what happened. The one that makes you see is okay, but the one that makes you feel is a better story. So, can anyone attempt? It's nobody's right, nobody's wrong in this class. So it's good to challenge yourself. This is where to go. Go ahead. Let's see.
I can say like one morning I was sitting in the living room watching TV.
That's a story. A good story now.
Okay. And while I was watching TV, I saw that that thing that those images of a way that people were using to make that kind of food that it's not here in America.
You could see.
Okay. And I was so excited to try to find out what it is so precious about with that food and how I can bring it here and help people here discover that new flavor.
Okay. Very good.
So I think that should be like the
Great
good
story. A
story.
very good attempt at a very great story. I want to feel it. That's one of the things I let everybody know. If you don't try, if you don't make an attempt, you will never know. You will not get it. But that's a great attempt, sir. I heard the story. You told us
Thank you.
a good story, and you tried to make us feel because of the flavor. Now, thank you,
You're
Labadi.
welcome.
Can I call you L?
Yeah, you can call
Labadi?
me Michelle
Oh,
too.
Michelle. Okay, Michelle
Yeah,
is
that's
easier,
okay.
please. Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Okay. So we're talking about your business story. A great business story or corporate story must have a great business point. In other words, it should incorporate a feeling. A feeling. In other words, when we talk feelings, we are talking about its ability to touch the emotions of your sponsors or your business affiliate or those who are listening to you who want to give you some financial assistance. You should be able to touch not just their physical self, touch their emotions, their inner part. So the problem is, how do we do that? We will get into all that. All right? So there are all kinds of stories, all kinds of stories. There is what is called a connection story. The word is simple. Can anybody attempt to give us what a connection story would be? Just attempt. It doesn't have to be absolutely to the point correct. Just make an attempt. A connection story.
My thought is connecting with the themes inside of the art pieces. So, for example, our mixed media mostly deals with isolation and oppression as transgender people. So, making those feelings relatable to the masses by understanding what it means to feel like the political climate is keeping you down, or to feel like people are, always gossiping about you, those types of things.
Great. Yes. You connect with the people. It's the title itself tells the story, right? Connection story. To be able to connect with the people, yes. It's a story that explains why you feel connected to your cause. You got it there, Angel.
Thank you.
Why do you feel connected to what you want to do? Angel, why do you feel connected to 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 the autism? You are the direct support gentleman, right? You're direct
Yes, that's correct.
yeah, professional.
Yep.
But why do you feel connected to that cause? Yeah.
Well, I'm not formally diagnosed autistic, but I know that
Yes.
I'm definitely on the spectrum. I have had quite a rough upbringing, so I have always connected to people on the spectrum more than others. And when it comes to art, I feel like a lot of us are underrepresented, and I want to be the person that helps autistic people and transgender people, since there's such a large overlap in those populations, to feel seen and feel supported.
Do you see that? It is based on life experiences, Angel. Do we
Mhm.
all see that? It's something that you've gone through in life that has led you to this point. Okay, that's a connection story. And you want to connect with the audience. It's part, a component of your aptitude, your competence to do a certain kind of work at a certain level. So we talk about the luxury fashion person. It's life experiences as a designer, right? You've been designing.
Yes.
Yes. So it's all part of it. Okay, Mr. Prime America, rep agent, you've been doing
Yes.
this. So you all have that connection story in your areas of interest already. They are there. You only have to get back to how to use those stories as you are now presenting your case to your financial agents, to your financiers and all of them, or whoever is there to support you, or your customers. You have those life experiences already. Those are the things that have led you to this point. I will tell you what led me to storytelling for this. I being a theater artist, I loved to did I love to tell stories, but I know that I knew how to get my people engaged whenever I had a story to tell. And because of that tendency, I had to now explore on how to use it for the benefit of other people. How can I use the storytelling to benefit other people? That is what it is. How can you use your basic stories to benefit other people? That's what happened. In my own case, I had to find a way to connect with other people in different areas of businesses, in schools, to students in schools, in hospitals, workers in the hospitals, the nurses, the doctors. I had to help them tell their story in a good way. Now, it is for you now to think of all those things that have happened in your past experiences that have led you to this point. So, a connection story. What one thing has occurred in your life as a constant thread in your life experiences, and you have come to believe that that could serve as a connection story to your listeners, personal or work related? I know that Angel has given us his own good example, which was excellent. Does someone else have an example? Because like Angel said, he's worked with these particular groups of individuals, and he wants to be able to see how he can help them through media art. People with autism and and the gay community. So it is not just for his own help, for his own sake. It's not a selfish thing he's doing. He's reaching out to the community, because you'll find out that in whatever business you are engaged in, if it is not for the benefit of the other person, the other community, the bigger community, or even your smaller community, if it is not going to be of benefit to them, it's definitely going to be for a selfish purpose. And people will turn away if your business value does not include the benefit of the community. Okay? Does anybody have I'll take just one example of a connection story from someone. Anyone? Anyone? Don't just say what is in your mind. Don't be afraid. Speak out. Speak out. You all have experiences. Remember, it's all based on your experiences. And that's why you are going into your business, the area you are going into. So what could be the connection story you would like to tell us? Or you want me to call a name? I can. Donna?
I
Yeah.
had a feeling. I've been driving back, so I've been listening, but
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just got home.
Okay.
So the connection story that I've had is I had breast cancer in 2017, and then I had the reconstructive surgeries, and so I know some of the issues that come with having had a mastectomy, but I don't know what it's like to be flat. But I have a document that I circulate for the newly diagnosed, and there's always this niche that's not filled. And I was trying to fill that niche, which is basically like products for women who didn't reconstruct at all. So they're either flat on one side or on both. And so my heart goes out to them and trying to figure out how I can relate to them, and then how can I learn more about them to find out what their needs are. And that's where I almost have trouble bridging that story. I don't really want to dwell on me. I want to focus on them.
Very good. Excellent. That's a very good connection story. That's an excellent connection story. It's life based on your life experience. And everyone else, I know you all have life experiences that you can make into a connection story. And usually a connection story is What holds your audience? What keeps them alive and alert, and they want to listen to your story? They want to listen to your story. What moves you? What motivates you? And I will tell you, there's a connection story just on Sunday. Sunday was Mother's Day, and one of the people, there's a man of God that I revere very much, I respect a lot, and he was telling a connection story, but it was a long connection story. He was telling, it was on a message on women, the things that women go through. Men, pardon me, please, that I'm dwelling on this, but it's just to let you see how this man used one story that he had read and what happened in his life and his wife's life to talk about Mother's Day. And it so happened, I'll make it very short. He was away, 15 hours away on business activity. One of his sons accidentally passed away. His first son passed away accidentally. He was not around. And this first son was loved by the mother very dearly. She has 7 sons, but that was close to her heart. So the other children called him 15 hours flight away to tell him what had happened. And the children refused to tell their mother because they knew they didn't know how to break it. However, when he finally broke this news to his wife, she uttered a shriek, sharp, painful cry that he had never heard before. It was so painful a cry that it lives in his memory as part of what women go through. And that was part of the theme of what he was talking about for Mother's Day, to honor women. So I'm saying that was a connection story there. Everybody listened because everybody wanted to know, how did they deal with it? How did they handle it? It was very personal, but he brought it to light. So a great connection story for Mother's Day, to let others know that mothers should be respected for the things they go through. All right? So that is a connection story. There is also, now I'm giving you the different types of stories. There is also the foundation story. The foundation story. What is a foundation story? It is generally associated. It's a very short stories. It centers around the beginning of an organization, like your business, the beginning of your business, and the main objective is to guide your listeners or the audience or your financial company, whoever, the sales group, whoever is listening to you. It leads them through the different periods of your business. The beginning of your business. Remember, we talked about beginning. We've talked about the growth, the middle, the rising action, the climax, the falling action, and the end. In your business, you have to tell the story. How did it begin? And as I said, you don't have to begin at when it began. You could always start your story in the middle. You can start your story at the end, but make sure to go back and bring in the beginning in your story. All right? How did your business begin? You got to tell the story. You just don't go to financial companies and give them a budget of what you need, and that's it. No. Where were your humble beginnings? And why do you need my money now? Is it because you want to grow bigger and bigger for yourself? If you want to grow bigger, you've got to grow bigger because you want to make it good enough for your community, accessible to your community. Maybe the space you have now cannot take your community. They're becoming the product or whatever you're selling needs more space, needs to grow, needs financial help to grow. You've got to tell that story. The foundation story is established to preserve knowledge and culture of your business. Every business has a culture of its own. I generally, no, let me not get there yet. The foundation stories. While you're telling your foundation stories, you've got to be very authentic and truthful to yourself. And please do have a clear outcome, be consistent, and get your customers involved. Fixed values. There must be fixed values. Fixed values would include things like either you have great integrity, you are compassionate, it must show up. You are accountable. I'm just giving you a few of the, you are respectful in terms of respecting the ideas of other people. When you're going out to sell your business, there are other businesses around you. You don't demean their own or look down on their own businesses because you want to promote your business. You acknowledge that other businesses exist and acknowledge what they have provided. Then you can also add that you have come out, even though you are probably in the same business with them. Here is what I offer. I offer something different. Okay? So I like to, for a foundation story, here is a story that has lived with me for so long, and I've tried to make ways to change, to find a better foundation story, but I haven't found it yet. Trader Joe's market. How many of us go to Trader Joe's? I know a lot of people go to Trader Joe's. Okay. Now, here is their own foundation story, and I found this in the internet. It says, it all started, can you read it from where you are? Can you read?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, you can see it. Okay, so you don't need me to read it, do you?
You can read it. I'd
Okay,
like to.
okay. Okay, it all started in the 50s. Would you believe we started out as a small chain of convenience stores? It's true, it's true. Way back in 1958. Oops, sorry. We were called Pronto Markets. In 67, our founder, the original Trader Joe, changed our name, yes, to Trader Joe's and the way we do business. We made the stores bigger. Now that is now Trader Joe's. We made the store bigger, if you can imagine bigger, decked the walls with cedar planks, and dawned on donned our crew in cool Hawaiian shirts. Most importantly, we started packaging innovative, hard to find, great tasting foods under the Trader Joe's name. That cut our costs and saved you, that's you, the customer, money. Still does. And that's important because value is a concept we take very seriously. And by value, we mean great everyday prices on all our great products, no sales, no gimmicks, no clubs to join, no special cards to swipe. How do we do it? Isn't that a great story? It's a great foundation story. It touches on everything from the beginning. It touched on how they started and how things changed over time, the growth over time. Okay. It talked about the things they introduced, not just because of the money, but because they wanted the customers. They wanted to please the customers. They make things easier for the customers. They cut the costs, save the customers money, and they also make their own part of living from it. Good tasting food, values. Values. We talked about the values. So they included everything. That is a great foundation story. How can you coin your own foundation story in that way? I'm giving you options. You have the connection story. You have the foundation story. Now, here's another one. The influence story. So what is an influence story? So, an influence story is a narrative used to persuade when you want to influence people. You know that. You want to persuade people to like what you're doing or inspire them to change their minds about what they're doing and then come over to you, to your own use your own business or instead. So it's the influence story is to influence other people's thoughts and other people's emotions. But remember, in telling a story, as I said, you got to connect with emotions and experiences. You got to connect. Everything you've so far we have talked about is related to connections, connecting with emotions and experiences, connecting. That if you cannot connect with your people, if you cannot connect emotionally with the people, your listeners, you will lose them. So the essence of the influence story is to narrate, is to use your persuasive powers, to use your persuasive powers to convince others or inspire others to connect with your own emotions and experiences. Okay, so here's what to do. The influence story will help your group see things from a different perspective. That's the essence. You're telling your story in a way that you want them to see not what they are used to seeing or hearing, but what you want them to see. You preface the story with a relevant statement. In other words, your story must let the listeners know how relevant what you are doing is to what they are seeking. when you are able to let them know the relevance of how related to what they are seeking, what you're saying is related to what they are seeking, is you've got them. You've got them in your hands. Don't forget that while you are telling your story, there will be anti-stories. Those are the antagonists in your story. Remember, you are the protagonist. You are telling a good story. You are telling your good story from your own point of view. You're trying to sell it to them. You're trying to influence how they think that your business is better, is good. Maybe not better, but good. Good to try. It has something to offer that the other does not have. However, it does not mean that the other business is not good. All you need to do is to tell your own story. There will be all those anti-stories. Save the anti-stories, the negatives, the those ones that come to give the actions. Those other parts that come to give you the actions, friction as you serve, as you try to raise the standard and tell your story and influence people's thoughts. People will always want to object, but leave that objection to the last. Because according to Sean Callahan, you can't beat a story with just facts. You just can beat a story with a better story. If you have a better story to tell, tell it. Tell it. Share your story. But as you share your story, don't forget that there will be arguments. People will argue. Oh, maybe what you're going to sell is those are the ones I call anti-stories. It's going to be a little too expensive for us to manage because there are so many other overhead issues. Those are anti-stories. Tell your better story. Do not neglect them. Do not put them at the background as if they don't matter. They do matter. If they had the nerve to talk about it, it matters to them. If anybody in your crowd brings up something that concerns them about your story, it is good. It is a good thing because you will address it. Address it positively. Okay? But always reiterate your point. Is there any question about this now? Is there any question, or am I clear enough on these issues?
I think it's pretty clear.
It's clear. Okay, Angel.
Yes,
Okay.
I got it.
Okay. Okay. And I hope it's related to what you're doing. You have to put all these points in your business plan. It could be in the sales aspect, could be in the marketing, or it could be in your proposal. The business proposal must have as the story. You got to tell a story in your business proposal. Okay? So how do we tackle anti-stories? How do we tackle all those negatives? Because those negatives are your antagonists. Remember, you are the protagonist in the story. Your business is the protagonist. The anti-stories are all the other businesses that are going to fight, not that they're fighting you directly, but we using a wrong terminology there. They are going to be competitors. There will definitely be competitors. Have you done enough research about your competitors? Can you speak to the business of your competitors? Have you done it's very research oriented, because if you need to be trusted, you've got to also show that you know something about the other businesses that are near you. You want to be trusted. Show that you know something about the other businesses that are competing for the same clientele with you. For instance, I want to go to, I want to, as I said earlier, I want to set my business up in a neighborhood that has Wendy's and has McDonald's and has whatever else, all the other fast foods, and then mine is a little business from nowhere, just beginning to come up, an ethnic catering business in the midst of all these that have names already. I should have my homework ready. I should have researched them. How much do they sell? What hours do they open? You do the research. What is their overhead? What is their budget like? You may not get the exact figures, but you can make an estimate. But you want to be trusted. You want to be a person of integrity. Your business has to be a business of integrity. In other words, it should be trustworthy. When you say you deliver, you will deliver. You don't say you will deliver and you don't. You've lost your customers. And when you say you deliver, your integrity is at stake. How are you delivering? Are you delivering with compassion? Are you delivering just because you want to make money for yourself alone? No. If your business does, again, I'm repeating this, I think maybe for the third time. If your business does not incorporate the community you live in, if it does not work for the benefit of the community you live in, or even if it's not a big community, a smaller community, it's okay. Everything starts small. The smaller community that you work for, you want to serve, you will lose everything because people will not patronize you. If it doesn't show respect to individuals or to even the other businesses around, if it doesn't give them that respect, you will not get it. It will not prosper. And of course, it has to have a sense of excellence in all you do, thoroughness in what you do. Your business has to incorporate all those values. All right? Any questions? Any questions?
What if you are in front, let's say like a banker who really doesn't care about the social impact or things, and let's say that this person only cares about if the money will be coming back into his hands. So what you could like say to that person, like, will you like use the emotion of that person connection with money and only talk about money and how you can work to give that person his or her money? Or can you still stick with all of the values, the benefit to the communities and stuff? So does that the way that you tell the story, is it like related to the person that's in front of you by any chance?
That's a very good question, I must say. Very good question, because as much as possible in business. Why do you go into business? You don't go into business to lose money, right? If you're in front of a financial institution and you need monies from them to support you, or you need their support, they will be also concerned about the return on investment, right? If they invest in you, how is the money coming back to them? How are they getting their money back? It is important. And you are in business not to lose. So you also have to think of your overhead and have a budget that will speak to the returns, that will speak to some profit. You don't want to have a business that will not have profit. Again, that would be I know that's in your business planning, you will touch on profit and loss and all of that, especially in the financial area. But as much as you lay emphasis on the emotions, be also conscious. That was good. Be conscious that financial institutions want to hear too that they will get their money back if they give it to you. So in talking to them, you need to lay out everything, your budgetary. Again, you can still appeal to their emotions by your budgetary. If your budget is good and it shows them that you are not going to run at a loss, and it's presented well, I think that does it. That does it. In other words, do not forget to make sure you have a proper budget that has the profit and loss included in it. Okay. Over a period of time, usually I don't know how many years of the projection they want you to make, maybe 2-3 years. Fine, you project 2-3 years financial budget for them. I think that does it. Did I answer your question, sir?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
I got it. Thank you.
Okay. So please, it's not just everything together, because you are taking a course on finance or budget or business writing and all that business. But this is to help you while you're writing that business what proposal. Is it a proposal you're writing? You have to incorporate all these and be able to use your voices and add inflections, not monotone presentation. No, not monotone presentation because you're going to be reading. No, you add inflections, add a little flavor to it to make it easy. All right. So there are also many kinds of stories. I'm just giving you the ones that will help you. There are stories that inspire people to act. There are stories that inspire action. Now, how do these stories inspire action, and what are they? Again, you should note from beginning to the end, one word keeps occurring, or a few words keep occurring. How do you think TV ads function? Stories inspire action by evoking your emotions. Watch television, people. They create empathy. And they help individuals envision possibilities. So as you're listening to a story, your emotions are being evoked. It's creating empathy. It's helping people envision that, oh, if he can do this, maybe I too can do it. You know, they can motivate individuals to act by tapping into the feeling of hope. So that's what I just said. Oh, if he can do it, maybe I can do it. It should create a sense of urgency, the need to act immediately, and the belief that they can make a difference. If you can make a difference, I can make a difference. Watch those TV ads. Oh, Ozempic. I'm sorry to go that way. I'm not advertising them, but watch them. They work on your emotions. They work on empathy. They want to make you feel, give you a hope that, oh, you too can be as slim as me, or you too can be as healthy, you too can jump ropes. It's urgent. So go ahead, get it. That's what you want to do. You want to inspire people to act, evoke their emotions. That's the essence of a story. Any story that does not evoke emotions is a statement. It's just a statement. It goes no further than a statement. And for the sake of time, I do have, okay, yeah. So think of when you are telling your story in your business plan, you've got to think of which of these stories will help you most. You can include it in your sales speech. You could include it in your marketing pitch. You could include it in your executive summary or executive statement. There is the triggering story. The triggering story is a very serious one. And maybe the story I told you about the man of God that I really respect a lot, the story I told you about the loss of his son and his wife's reaction, could also serve as a triggering story. Now, what is a triggering story? It is essentially a narrative or a situation that activates and brings to the surface previously repressed or unhealed emotions. Emotions that have been held for a while and repressed for a while, and somebody tells that story and it brings up the emotion that was unhealed. The purpose is to heal that emotion. It's to heal that emotion. It could be news that you hear. It could be life changes, or the birth or the death or the weddings, or a move. Oh, I just moved from California to New York. It could be such a story. Or maybe it could be a story about a new job, starting a new job. Anything that is dramatic, anything dramatic that can cause people to want to see, how did they handle it? How did she do it? How did he get by? I want to know so that I too may get by. These are triggering stories. When you listen to other people's stories, they can trigger you to want to do what they did to succeed. Do you have a question about a triggering story? No. So let us sharing your stories in your business. Again, I should make it sharing your business story. Now, it's only when you tell your story that a lesson is learned. If you don't tell your story and you go and give people figures and data and statistics, you have not told a story. Nobody learns from that. Nobody knows or feels you. You need to be felt. And we need you to catch yourself telling stories. Everybody has a story. Go back to the archives. Check how things have been going with you that have led you to this point. What are those things that have been happening that have led you to this point where you have taken this particular decision? Either to go forward this direction or to turn to the next direction. It's either because there was a failure in one direction, now you decided to change. Notice how you do it. Notice how others do it. Whenever you catch yourself making a point or sharing an opinion, anytime you are sharing an opinion or making a point, seek out a story to tell. I know you have the stories. We all have stories, right from when we became cognitive of who we are. We all have stories. So seek out a story to tell. Reinforce your point of view. In fact, some stories don't have to be your own stories. You can seek out stories from other people, but be sure to acknowledge that XYZ, this particular story is not my own story. But I got it from someone because it is relevant to this situation. Remember, relevance is important. And then when you tell the story, please enjoy the response of the audience. After all, that's it. That's a story. It's for us to enjoy. When you hear the story, enjoy the response. Make your stories engaging so that the listener is trying to predict what next you have to say, what next is going to happen. What is it going to say again? What is the next stage of this story? So you will have a beginning in your story. Remember, you will have the rising action, which may be as you started, you started to think about what you need to do to get this business started. What caused me to think about getting this business started? Maybe I had a boss who was very aggressive towards me, did not understand me, or was just always abusive, and I couldn't take it anymore. So that's part of the rising action. So I decided, or that the cost of this particular item was getting too high for the patients. They couldn't afford it at a point, and I knew that it should not be that expensive. That's rising action. So I decided that I might go into this. But as you are trying to get into it, there will be conflicts. Conflict in maybe a place to start the business, or or a partner to help you out, or the financial help. Those are all actions and counter actions, and you have to overcome them to get to a climax where you say, I have arrived here at this point. This is what I definitely am going to do. I have decided I am doing this. I've settled. Now, having settled at the climax, that's when you now start to do all the other homework. Okay? The other homework. How am I going to sell this? Where are my sales coming from? What group am I going to sell this to? Who is going to listen to me? My audience. You choose your groups and you know how to sell to them. Either you use social media is there now to sell all these things that we are doing. Okay. Thanks, media artists. Thanks, media artist Angel, all and the rest of you. So, social media, am I going to social media? Am I going to use paper? Am I going to be going to communities and meetings and meeting people to talk about my business? Those are right when you are now beginning to settle down on what to, because you've decided on what to do until you get to the end. At the end, it means everything is ready to start. But that end could also be a start of another stage. That end where you have reached, you are ready to start, could be the start of new challenges too. So, but you have to have your story, a bank of stories ever ready to be told. Oops, we are running out of time. So I will round up by giving you the ethics of storytelling. Tell stories as you believe they happened. Tell people when you've made up a story. If you made up a story, it's okay to make up a story. It's okay. There are banks of stories. You could use fables. Those are stories you can use. You can use anywhere you find stories, you can use them. Myths, you can use them. Don't tell other people's stories as if they are your own. Yes, acknowledge other people's stories and protect confidences. Don't give names out. It's not good unless you are acknowledging something they've said, which is to the benefit of everybody. Don't put people in a situation that compels them to tell a story they would not normally tell. If there's a story that one should not normally tell, don't compel. Tell people what you're doing when they ask. It's good to be open and upfront, trustworthy, compassionate, respectful, right? And do your work excellent, accountable, and be excellent in what you do. Does anybody have any questions? Does anybody have any questions? Or have you received what you need to prepare you for your business storytelling? Because you're going to incorporate parts of this in your business plan, parts of what we've learned. Hello. Middleton? I'm asking, hello? Hello?
I hear you. We may just be having some connection issues.
Oh, sorry. Oh, so
That's
they did not hear the last bits of what I said?
I did hear you. I just don't know what everybody's connection is. But I also know some people may have to go since we are at our time.
Okay.
Or maybe it's their dinner time. It's evening. But I think you've done a wonderful job, and always it's a wonderful working with you and just getting to re-experience storytelling each time.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Yes, thank you very much for being here. I didn't have connection for a little bit there, but I did hear what you were saying, and I very much appreciate your time.
Thank you. I appreciate your time too. And thank you all for making time. I hope you were able to gain something from this that will assist you as you write your business plans. Okay?
Have a good night,
Thank
everyone.
you very much. I
Thank
learned
you.
a lot today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Have a great one.
Thank you. Have a
Bye.
fantastic
Good
evening,
night,
everybody.
everyone. Thank you.